Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. In today's video, we are doing front rotors and brake pads on a 2014 Ford Mustang V6. So I'm going to show you guys the way I do it. Personally, this has been working for me, and I more or less followed the same steps on all the vehicles I do brake jobs on. So first thing I do is get the jack ready. I lift it up a little bit, make sure it's positioned correctly, and then I loosen all of the lug nuts or bolts, whichever vehicle you have, and then I'm gonna raise the jack all the way and take off the tire. With the wheel and tire off, we have our rotor, caliper, and brake pads. And this is the reason why I'm going to do a rotor and brake pad job, because these are warped. I feel a whole bunch of ridges, a whole bunch of bumps. It is not very smooth, and when I drive and hit the brakes, there's a lot of shaking and vibration from the steering wheel. Next, we'll be taking off the brake caliper itself. There's one bolt here. This is a 12 millimeter, one under it, and then right next to it is a 15 millimeter, and then there's one right below it. So the connection point is in two pieces. Going to loosen all of them and then essentially take everything off by hand. Got these loose, so these are going to be easy to do by hand. Now you can wiggle this off and set it to the side. Some people use hooks because you don't want this to dangle, although this isn't super heavy. But I use a big block of wood. Here's our brake pads. Well, see, brake pads are pretty great, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to reuse them with the warped rotor. Although they still feel pretty smooth. But this happens when someone goes in because their rotors are warped and they think it's the brake pads. So they only replace the brake pads, but the issue doesn't go away. The problem is in the rotor itself, not the brake pads. What I like to do, since I'm already in here, is decompress the pistons, and you'll need a decompressing tool. This one I purchased, I think, eBay or like Amazon many years ago, and it does a great job. And I use the old brake pads to push it in, since I'm not reusing the pads. So there's that one. Loosen this up, slide it over to this side. There we go, and start turning clockwise to decompress this one. So once I'm done with everything, I could just literally slide this on. Next, you could remove the housing, and it's held by two 15 millimeter bolts. This one's coming out pretty tight, so I will need a wrench to take it out and do it by hand. Now here is the fun part. If you are lucky, your rotor will come off. If you are unlucky like myself, there will be rust all around this hub right here, and the rotor is on there pretty darn tight. So two options. One is a traditional hammer, since the rotor is getting replaced and it's okay to damage it. But I am going to try to use the rubber mallet, which I usually do when I do this type of job, in hopes to break loose the rust. The other helpful tool is using PB Blaster or WD-40, something along those lines, and just spray around here. We could spray it in there. I am running out on this one. And then just leave it on there for a minute or two, let it do its thing, and then try the hammer again. Minute with the PB Blaster on there, 3 smacks, and there's our old rotor. Yeah, and you see the back side of it is also not in the best shape. Now, depending on, I guess, the way you like to do things, you could try to clean all of this off from rust and whatnot. I'm not going to, because 1, no one is going to see it. 2, it doesn't affect the drivability, and 3, it will probably get rusted again. So I will just be installing the new rotors. Now, the new rotor is right here, and if you guys can see, it has a whole bunch of this wet stuff on it. It's a coating that we want to take off. Best way to do that is to use a brake cleaner and then just go around and clean that off. And we will gently flip it to this side and do the same with this side. There we go. Now we can install it. Now, working backwards, we could put the housing on, and then we could slide the brake pads in, and then put the rest of the assembly on and tighten everything. If you decide to replace the hardware, very easy. There's this little tab. Just gently pull up on it. There we go. To put the new one in, you want the smaller end to go behind, and then push down on the front one and it clips in. Tighten everything down and you are done. Don't forget to pump your brakes before you start driving. So start the vehicle, pump your brakes. I will not be showing you guys how to do the other side because the procedure is literally the same. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you guys in another video.